When Barron Trump walked into the crowded event hall, he had no idea that he was about to experience a deeply emotional moment, one that would take him back to his childhood in an instant. The tall, reserved young man, often seen as a symbol of quiet dignity, suddenly found himself face to face with someone who had played a significant role in his early years, his former teacher. The moment was captured on camera, and the raw emotion in Barron's expression spoke volumes. For someone who has spent much of his life in the public eye, he has mastered the art of maintaining composure, but this was different. His eyes widened with recognition, and for a brief moment, his guarded demeanor softened. His former teacher, an older gentleman with silver-streaked hair and a warm smile, seemed equally surprised. It had been years since they last saw each other, yet in that instant, it was as if time had melted away. The reunion was unexpected, unscripted, and deeply heartfelt. Barron extended his hand, but his teacher bypassed the formality, pulling him in for a brief, heartfelt hug. Those who witnessed the moment could see the mutual respect and appreciation between them. It wasn't just a meeting between a former student and his teacher, it was a silent acknowledgement of shared history, of lessons learned, of a connection that had stood the test of time. Observers at the event, many of whom were dignitaries and public figures, paused to take in the scene. It was rare to see Barron, who is often reserved in public settings, display such genuine warmth. But this meeting wasn't about politics or prestige. It was about the simple human connection between a mentor and his student. The teacher, whose name remains undisclosed for privacy reasons, had taught Barron during his early schooling years. Reports suggest that he was one of Barron's favorite educators, known for his patient approach and ability to make learning engaging. The impact he had on Barron was evident in that fleeting moment of reunion. As they exchanged words, those nearby could hear snippets of their conversation. Barron's deep voice carried a mixture of respect and nostalgia. He asked about the teacher's well-being, about his family, and even about some of the subjects they used to discuss in class. It was a rare, unguarded glimpse into a side of Barron that the public doesn't often see. A young man who, despite his unique upbringing, values the relationships that shaped him. The teacher, clearly moved by the encounter, spoke with a sense of pride, telling Barron how he had always believed in his potential. He reminded him of a moment years ago when Barron had impressed the class with a particularly insightful answer, hinting at the intelligence and curiosity he displayed even as a young boy. Barron smiled at the memory, nodding as if transported back to those school days. For a brief moment, the weight of expectations, the scrutiny of being the son of a former president, seemed to disappear. He was simply a former student reconnecting with someone who had left a lasting impact on his life. The cameras captured every detail, the warmth in their eyes, the laughter shared over old memories, and the mutual admiration between them. It wasn't long before others at the event started noticing the exchange, and soon social media was buzzing with the images and clips of the emotional reunion. Many people commented on how rare it was to see Barron in such a candid moment, unguarded and visibly touched. Some remarked on how much he had grown, both physically and in his demeanor, from the young boy they remembered seeing in past public appearances. Others appreciated the reminder that, beyond the headlines and the politics, he is still just a person with real emotions, real connections, and real memories that shape him. As the conversation between Barron and his former teacher drew to a close, there was a pause, a brief hesitation as if neither wanted the moment to end too soon. The teacher, with a proud yet slightly emotional look, gave Barron a final pat on the shoulder and said, "You've grown into a fine young man. Keep making us proud." Barron nodded, his expression serious but appreciative. "I'll do my best," he responded sincerely before they parted ways. Even as the event continued, those who had witnessed the reunion couldn't shake the impact of the moment. It was a simple yet profound reminder of how teachers shape lives, how moments of genuine human connection stand out even in the most high-profile settings, and how, at the end of the day, we all carry pieces of our past with us. For Barron Trump, this unexpected reunion wasn't just a brief conversation in a crowded room. It was a reminder of where he came from, the people who helped guide him, and the values that continue to shape his path forward. And for the teacher, it was a touching confirmation that the impact of his work had reached far beyond the classroom. Even after the event concluded, the video of Barron's heartfelt reunion with his former teacher continued to spread across social media and news platforms. People from all walks of life were moved by the authenticity of the moment, sharing their own stories about teachers who had shaped their lives in meaningful ways. Comment sections overflowed with messages of admiration, not just for Barron's maturity and humility, but also for the undeniable influence a great teacher can have on a student. Some users recalled their own childhood educators, reflecting on the lasting impact of guidance, encouragement, and mentorship. Others pointed out how rare it is to see someone in Barron's position display such open emotion, making the moment even more special. Journalists and commentators soon picked up on the story, with many highlighting the deeper significance of the encounter. Some noted that, despite growing up in an environment of immense privilege, Barron's reaction showed a level of sincerity and gratitude that resonated with people far beyond political lines. Others discussed how this rare, unscripted glimpse into his personal life revealed the kind of values he holds: respect, appreciation, and a deep sense of connection to those who have helped shape him. The teacher himself, though preferring to stay out of the spotlight, was reportedly overwhelmed by the outpouring of positive reactions. In a brief statement to a journalist who reached out for a comment, he simply said, "I always knew Barron had a bright future ahead of him. Seeing him again after all these years as a young man, and knowing he still remembers and values what he learned, it means everything to a teacher." For Barron, however, the moment wasn't about media attention or public perception. It was about something far more personal. In the days following the event, those close to him noted that he seemed reflective, as if the encounter had stirred something deeper within him. Perhaps it was a reminder of a simpler time, before the constant scrutiny, before the weight of expectations, before the world had placed him under a magnifying glass. Or maybe it was the realization that, no matter how much his life has changed, some connections remain untouched by time. What stood out most was the way Barron handled the situation. There was no sense of obligation in his interaction with his teacher, only genuine respect and appreciation. It was a side of him that the public rarely gets to see, a reminder that beyond the political narratives and media speculations, he is a young man with his own experiences, relationships, and emotions. The viral nature of the moment also reignited conversations about the importance of educators. Teachers across the country chimed in, expressing how moments like these validate their lifelong dedication to shaping young minds. Parents, too, use the opportunity to encourage their children to appreciate the mentors who guide them through their formative years. As time passed, the buzz surrounding the reunion gradually settled, but for those who witnessed it, whether in person or through the lens of a camera, the memory remained. It was a rare, beautiful reminder of the human connections that transcend status, fame, and time. For Barron Trump, the unexpected reunion with his former teacher was more than just a brief encounter. It was a moment of reflection, a reminder of where he came from, and perhaps a quiet promise to carry those lessons forward as he continues on his own journey. In the weeks following the reunion, discussions about Barron Trump's character and personal growth continued to circulate. Many who had only seen him through the lens of his public appearances were now looking at him in a different light. The she Encounter with his former teacher had humanized him in a way that few moments ever had, showing a side of him that had remained largely private. Some media outlets explored the significance of mentorship and education in Barron's life, delving into how his early years were shaped by those who guided him beyond the political world he was born into. Others speculated about how this moment might reflect on his future, whether in academics, business, or even a potential role in public service. Amidst all the discussions, Barron remained as private as ever. He did not make any public statements about the encounter, nor did he attempt to capitalize on the attention it had brought him. This in itself spoke volumes. He wasn't seeking validation or headlines. The moment was real, personal, and meaningful to him alone. However, those close to him noted a subtle shift in his demeanor. He seemed more introspective, perhaps reflecting on the lessons he had learned from his former teacher and others who had played a role in shaping him. It was a reminder that no matter how much life changes, the people who teach us, guide us, and believe in us remain a part of our story. For the teacher, the impact was just as profound. In private conversations, he expressed deep gratitude for the unexpected reunion, remarking that moments like these were rare but deeply fulfilling for educators. Seeing a former student, now grown, and knowing that he had made even the smallest difference in his life, it was a reminder of why teachers do what they do. As time passed, the story of Barron Trump's reunion with his teacher became one of those rare viral moments that wasn't driven by controversy or scandal, but by something far more universal: human connection. It was a moment that resonated with people regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs, proving that at the heart of it all, we are shaped by the people who guide us along the way. And while the world may move on to the next big story, for Barron and his teacher, that brief, unexpected moment will remain a cherished memory, one that reminded them both of the lasting power of mentorship, respect, and the quiet bonds that endure through time.